Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast, presented by Heath Riles BBQ, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
All right, we're sitting down today with the CEO of Royal Oak Charcoal, Mr. Jim Bennett. How you doing today, Jim?
Great, Heath. How are you?
I'm good. So for everybody that does not know you, can you tell us kind of who you are and what you do and how you got started with Royal Oak?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a long story, but I used to work in corporate America, like a lot of people, and the gentleman I worked for ended up purchasing Royal Oak, and that's how I got here. So if you look at Royal Oak's history, it was a family-owned business started by a gentleman named Jim Keeter. And he started the business back in the late 50s and opened one of our first plants in kind of the early 60s. And we've been going since then. And unfortunately, in the early 2015, 2017, Jim Keeter passed away, and his family ended up selling the business to the Franklin family. And I'd worked for Martin Franklin for a number of years. And that's how I ended up back at Royal Oak. And so I, worked for Martin Franklin running Royal Oak, which is his family's business. So that's how I got here. So I've been a part of Royal Oak since about 2020.
About 2020.
Yep.
So since 2020 and COVID, how have you seen it change just since 2020, I guess is a better sense?
Yeah, it's a strange situation, in COVID, as we all know, everybody had to, was forced to stay at home. So, and during the years of COVID, 2021, it was anything that you could put in a bag, you could sell. It didn't matter if it was in, what color, what, who, but, we make a lot of private label products that are out there, and so it didn't matter what you did, you could sell it, and we were running as hard as all our facilities were running as hard as we could go, and the struggle during COVID. Also during that time, obviously we had to keep our team members safe, and try to prevent them from getting COVID during all those years, because we were running full out. We were one of those companies that were considered a necessity because it was a fuel type source during those years, and so we ran the entire time, and we ran full out, and so it was a very challenging time during those 2 years. Since that time, it's gone a little bit the other way. In 2022, I would call it the snapback effect. Everybody that stayed at home or locked down for 2.5, 3 years, all of a sudden said, no, we don't want to do anything at home. And that includes grilling and other things. It was eat out, go travel, go to Disney World, go to football games we hadn't been to, et cetera, et cetera. So nobody wanted to be at home. So there was a springback effect where, there wasn't a whole lot of charcoal sales in 2022. You move forward to 2023, and we've gotten kind of back to pre-pandemic levels. I think people are starting to kind of get back to doing what they normally do, and so we're back to kind of pre-pandemic 2018, 2019 levels. So, it's all starting to get back to quote-unquote normal, let's say.
I sure hope so. It's don't get me wrong, riding the big waves are fun, but you don't want to drop off those big waves either. I like the steady, constant growth versus the rocky situation.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And again, it wasn't a big wave. It was a tsunami.
So I'm very well aware of it.
It was one of those things where, it was kind of fun, but it was painful for our team members out in the field, because they were working, again, during the pandemic, they were working, 50, 60 hours a week, trying to make product for our customers.
So as far as product, y'all's flagship product would be your lump charcoal, correct?
Sure.
And then the briquettes is going to be the second best.
Yeah. So our flagship, we're the largest lump company and manufacturer in the United States by a far stretch. And then, what we've done traditionally as an organization is we've been, again, traditionally for the first 30 years of our existence, we were largely a private label company from a briquette side. We didn't do much on the marketing and branding side of our briquettes until about 3-4 years ago. We really started putting a lot of effort behind our briquettes, and we launched a lot of new products under the Royal Oak brand, and then we've launched this past year our supersized briquettes, which is really doing very, very well in the marketplace in 2023 and perform exceedingly well. And then we are launching in 2024. This coming year, we'll come out with our Royal Oak Supersize Instant Briquette. So again, another new product out there. And then we've launched a lot of other new products, along the way. Canned Heat, as you know, which is our chafing fuel. And then we've also launched a new product that is just now hitting stores, which is our Flame Saber, which is an incredibly neat lighter, but it's not really a lighter. It is truly a light, got more of a lightsaber than a.
That's right.
So it's been a great couple years as we've really moved forward, and then we've launched back in 2021, 22 our 100% charcoal pellets. So we're not only in the lump side of the business, we're in the briquette side of the business and have been for a long time, but we're also now in the pellet side of the business, and we're the only 100% charcoal pellet in the marketplace today.
I can tell you, I started cooking on the pellets, testing them before they come out in the market. Of course, y'all were shipping them to us, and I liked them really before. And for some reason, we got a new grill. Well, not for some reason. Traeger sent us a new, ironwood,
Okay.
and that thing smokes so much more than all the other grills we've ever had. It's something about their new downdraft system in it. And I've noticed using the charcoal pellets, you get so much more of that authentic, rich taste than just a regular pellet grill. I don't know how their system is designed, their auto draft, but you can ask her, even a piece of fish takes on so much smoke from the pellets now. It's incredible.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people that are, call it, traditional barbecue enthusiasts that don't like the pellet grills. I mean, obviously pellet grills are great convenience, but they don't like the pellet grill because they don't get the charcoal taste out of a pellet that they obviously get in a traditional grill, charcoal grill. And so there's been a lot of people that have said, "Hey, man, pellet grills aren't for me for that reason." But our 100% charcoal pellet, it is a char-based pellet, so it is exactly like what not exactly. The manufacturing is a little bit different, but from an what's inside perspective, it's exactly like our briquettes. So you get that true charcoal flavor that you don't get with any other pellet out there. And it works in every single pellet grill made, including, obviously the best, one of the best in the market is Traeger. And it works in Traeger grills, it works in all grills. And it really does provide that, true authentic taste. And then some people, mix their cherry blend or their apple blend, and they mix a little bit of that in with our charcoal
I've done that a couple
pellets,
times,
and it really adds the flavor profile that you really want to get out of a true charcoal cooking experience.
It definitely, I like it.
So I have to ask I know that Royal Oak doesn't just target barbecue teams, of course. You have your general everyday cook, but were you familiar with the barbecue community, meaning, competition guys? And if you weren't, what are your thoughts? I feel like it's a very special community, I guess. So I guess I'm just asking, were you familiar with that? If not, what are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
and I think I said when I welcomed our barbecue teams this week, I wasn't a barbecue guy until I came to Royal Oak, and I've really gotten to be, I got to see why people enjoy this. And it's not, it's obviously about the food you know, the taste. I mean, and obviously I get to taste the best barbecue in the world, and it's about that. There's no question, but it's about the experience, the community. And I said this, you know, and in our welcome was, you know, our value, our vision for our company is, you know, that we bring, you know, we make products that bring friends and family together. And that's what, you know, this event's about. That's what competition barbecue is about. It's about, you know, having fun and being together and bringing friends and family together. You know, you know, what I like about the competition barbecue and the teams that we have. First of all, you know, all our teams are just real people. I mean, they're just great people that just happen to love, you know, love cooking barbecue. And, you know, so it's fun to be around those people. And then what it gives us is, you know, ways that we can appeal to the backyard barbecue guy. I mean, most backyard barbecue guys that you know, they get into barbecue. You know, oftentimes they get in with the classic Weber kettle, and you can do almost anything on a classic Weber kettle. I mean, I'm not making a pitch for Weber, but it is a great just starter grill. I mean, it does anything. And then they progress through all the way up to the Big Green Eggs of the world, and you know, it's all about that experience and being out there and having your friends and, you know, cracking a beer or watching the game. You know, it's that. And what our pitmasters do is give us the authenticity to appeal to that backyard barbecuer. And that backyard barbecuer, you know, may not want to be a true pitmaster, but he wants to be the pitmaster of his neighborhood, right? Hey, we all do. We all want to be the guy that goes, hey, go over to Joe's house. He makes the best ribs. He makes the best pulled pork, or he makes the best chicken, or he makes the best brisket. That's what we all aspire to have. You know, everybody in the neighborhood talking about what we do out on the grill, right?
I think that's how most of us get started in barbecue. You hear it from somebody in your neighborhood, man, you should really go enter one of them barbecue contests.
Right, exactly.
That's how I got started. It was just that, and a friend of mine's uncle had a KCBS team, and I went to Don and was like, Don, I'd like to learn more about this. They say I got good food. I want to know.
Yeah, you want to see how good it actually is, right?
And we kind of got started that way. And I think about 80 to probably 90% of people, I mean, what man or woman don't like seeing somebody has a great experience with their food?
Right.
I mean, everybody, I mean, and I'm sure you eat at some restaurants just like we do that are hit and miss, and then you have one that goes, man, this is it right here. I mean, and that's what barbecue is about us. I love seeing somebody take that first bite and go, oh man.
And you know, Heath, it doesn't matter, like you were saying, on a restaurant, it doesn't matter if it's a, you know, $50, $75 an entree meal kind of place. You go,
Or $3.
eh, or $3. You go, you hit the $3 place or the burger joint, and you go, wow, this is the best burger I've ever put in my mouth. And it doesn't matter. It's that experience. And it's the same way with barbecue. You know, it's exactly the same thing. No matter what you're doing out there on the grill, you know, your cheap slice or more inexpensive piece of meat, or your, you know, brisket, which I personally, I steer away from brisket because I'm one of those guys that go, I don't want to ruin, you know, that expensive piece of meat, you know. And I'm just not that good at it yet. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna steer away from.
Man,
you know,
we can teach you.
brisket.
It's not a problem, Jim. We
I
can
know.
get you there. Oh, for sure. Well, look, I just want to tell you thank you for sitting down and having a little conversation with us and telling us how kind of Royal Oak kind of progressed through the years. Because to me, I grew up cooking on Royal Oak charcoal, so it means something to me now sitting at the facility, you know, at the headquarters and being here. Just remember my dad tearing open bags, you know, putting in a grill, and we would do fundraisers at the fire department, and it was always something going on like that where we were cooking, and it was nothing about a contest, or it was just feeding people.
Yeah.
And like you said, barbecue or food in general brings people together, and it seems like when you have that outdoor experience, it's 10 times as better.
It's 10 times better. There's one thing I do want to touch on that I didn't mention about Royal, because people don't realize, you know, kind of what we do. You know, everything we make we make out of waste wood. You know, I guess the new term is not recycle, because it's not really recycling. We repurpose. We repurpose over 1 million pounds of waste wood every year. And, you know, what would that waste wood have done if we hadn't repurposed it in the charcoal that everybody loves? You know, there oftentimes that waste wood would have gone in landfills. In some cases, it would have been open burned, you know, and in other cases, it would have been left in the fields, which, you know, obviously is not good for the environment either. So, you know, what we do is really great for the environment. And we partner with sawmills that we have what we call Forest Forever. And it's, you know, it's just an approach that, you know, keeps forest and woodlands, you know, into perpetuity for all our families and everyone to enjoy, because that's part of the whole barbecue experience is outdoors, and we want to keep that for future generations. So everything we do is about, you know, keeping things for future generations and creating a better environment for all of us.
It's nothing like knowing that I'm working with a business that's always giving back. And what I mean by that is, I mean, us having even a little girl at 18 months old right now, I know that later on down the road, Royal Oak's making a difference for her too, and everybody else. So it's always good with that sense. I just want to tell you thank you for coming on and talking a little bit this morning about Royal Oak, and again, for having us over. It's a beautiful facility.
Yep, thanks Heath. Thanks for all you guys do for us too.
Thank you. All right, we're back, everybody. We are joined with LC's Barbecue, Philip and Carmen Breeden. How y'all doing today?
We're doing real good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Y'all honestly tear the circuit up in Texas. If I am not looking online and seeing Bill Purvis, I am seeing your name. So, honestly, how much do y'all cook?
Yeah, we cook every weekend.
Every weekend. You just like Bill, 52 weeks a year, basically, or 50 weeks a year?
And it's averaged out, you know, between a weekend off here or there and then doubles. And it's 50 a year. It's just how it works out almost every year, 50.
Wow.
And we've been doing that since 2018.
You have a lot to choose from in Texas, I feel like, though. Like, they're all over.
For sure.
Yeah,
like
Texas is a big state.
Yeah.
But we've got really 4 main sanctioning bodies now between CBA, IBCA, Outlaw, and Lone Star. So there's 4 sanctioning bodies, and just various different, you know, nuances between those, but it's all Texas style, no kill or anything. So there's lots of options.
Yeah.
So they just all like IBCA, brisket, chicken, and ribs?
Yeah, so CBA's 4 meat. Chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. I would say they're IBCA, Lone Star, and Outlaw are most similar because they're 3 meat.
Right.
They don't do pork. It's just a piece of foil in the bottom of the box, and then, you know, one of them's like you gotta have 8 ribs, one of them's you gotta have 7 ribs, but you just put them in the box. CBA is a little different because, like on chicken, you can do any parts of the chicken. The only thing you can't do is pulled chicken, but you could do thighs, wings. You know, the other sanctioning bodies are half chickens. So CBA is a little different, kind of more towards KCBS because you can have pieces. Pork, you can do, you know, anything you can do in KCBS, and brisket, same thing, slices or burn-ins, but no shredded.
No shredded.
So do you keep your same flavor profile in all of those for the most part?
Yeah, even Kate, I mean, doesn't
Yeah.
matter if we're in Montana
Even
or
coming here?
Texas or
Montana or
here
in
too.
Georgia or whatever. The
I just cooked
profile's
the same thing
yeah.
last weekend,
Yeah.
so we'll see how it does.
Yeah.
I was really shocked. I tasted Bill's brisket, and he said how sweet Texas had gotten lately. Are you a sweet brisket too?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really found a place sweet don't win.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because you'll talk to some guys and they're like, man, they like sweet down there. And I'm like, no shit, they like sweet everywhere. I ain't found a place they don't like
I
sweet.
make a sweet hot rib, you know, sweet candy, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm a rib man. I love cooking ribs, 100%. And you know, brisket has always been beefy for us, but to see people saucing it and doing this, and I even heard somebody talking yesterday about in Texas, they think some people put black food coloring in their barbecue sauce to get more of a darker bark. on top. Have you heard
That
that
ain't
one?
wrong. I've taught it in class, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be
Really?
responsible
Yeah.
for part of that.
Yeah.
Don't really do it anymore, but yeah,
Yeah.
there was a time, man. I'll
There
take
was a
one
time,
drop,
yeah.
stir it up, and then you'll get
Yeah.
a darker
A darker color.
look to it. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like we kind of jumped right in. You wanna
yeah,
back up
we
a little
did.
bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're having
kinda-
fun.
No, I just I want to make sure we cover,
Sure.
the first
Yeah,
thing that
for
we've
sure.
kind of been asking everybody is kind of tell us how you got into barbecue, how did that start and kind of
Sure.
from then to now, how you got
Yeah.
there.
So my first comp was in January of 2015. So cooking for what, 8 or 9 years now, and man, I didn't know anything about competition at the time. I had a buddy that had done some, and man, we were at the deer camp hanging out that fall in 14. And we
Yeah.
cooked a lot at the deer camp, and he's like, "Man, you should do a barbecue competition." And I'm like,
Oh, they have those?
"Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, there's one next month. I'll get all the info. I can come up there. I'll help you and everything." So, man, we did that, and that was the one in January. And man, I thought it was going to be a pretty short career because, man, they only called top 3 chicken, top 3 ribs, and the top 3 brisket.
Yeah.
Man, they call that chicken, which, man, obviously had good barbecue, right? And should win.
Yeah.
And nothing on chicken, nothing on ribs, and brisket was the same way. Man, until first place, so that probably changed my career because we hit first place brisket, and if we hadn't, I don't know if I'd have done another one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
that
were
was your
very
hook.
first.
Yeah,
That was the
I mean,
hook.
right out of the gates.
That was the hook.
Second competition, hit first place brisket again. Ended up cooking 8 or 10 that year, and did real well. Got a couple reserves, a grand.
Yeah.
First year cooking. 16, kind of the same way. I cooked about 10 or 12. 17, I cooked about 10 or 12, and 18 is really when it got like serious, and it wasn't on purpose, but that January I did a cook-off. The next weekend I'm like, I'm gonna go do that one. Next weekend I'm gonna do that one. Next thing it's 37 in a row.
Yes.
And I don't know why. I just like, man, they're everywhere. I'll just go every weekend. So, kind of, just started cooking every single weekend, and I have since 2018. So, man, we're going on like 5 years, 50 cook-offs a year.
But it was duck hunting before that, and then you got into
Yeah,
it. So you
anything.
really,
Really?
when he
This one-
when he
this one's a
gets
duck
hooked on
hunter.
something, he gets
I mean, I used to hunt 50 days, at least 50 days a year out of 60.
yeah. So he's
I mean, she'd come to duck club and
Yeah.
wash clothes, and
Same way after the split one year. I think there was 54 days, 152 of them.
Yeah.
It was the same. 10 years. It's all I did at duck hunt. Like, if it was daylight and I could figure out how to duck hunt, I was duck hunting.
yeah.
I'm going actually. I think was it next week or the next?
Soon.
Soon.
Well, I used
Almost
to
that
walk those
time.
marshes and do a bunch of public land, like all over the country. I'd go to Arkansas. I'd just get a map and look and go. But man, my duck hunts have to get a little easier these days. I got
Oh, I'm
barbecue
Yeah,
all
line,
no,
I'm
no,
working
no.
no marshes.
I'm voted in. Look here,
Yeah,
no.
you're
Step
voting
there.
in
Can you
and
scoot a little
vote
closer?
down.
Side by side, I'm gonna step
Yeah.
right off in a pit, or right off in a blind.
There you go.
And one of the places we hunt by the house now, it's a sporting clays course, and they raise ducks, wild ducks, and it's a great place to take clients or kids or whatever. And we pick out just greenheads to shoot, no hens.
You just started
Carry
doing that.
20 gauge, yeah,
though.
just
You
started doing it. I
primarily
used to hunt
in
wild.
Arkansas.
And but this is 10 minutes from the house, and so the spice company will come down, or we'll take clients out there or something like that, and it's like $300 for a hunt. They come out there and bring you breakfast, and now they're cooking breakfast for you. They haul you out there on a tractor. You can wear rubber boots or tennis shoes. You ain't got to go get a bird one. They got a dog. It's really good, and all the ducks are corn fed, and they're huge birds.
Nice.
So it's a really good place to just go somewhere local and be back at work really quick.
It's
I can go
not
out there at
like
6 and be at work
real
by 9.
hunting though.
That ain't like real hunting. Not
like-
But we've done the real hunting. We don't have to
I
do
know.
that
Yeah, we don't need
anymore.
to do that anymore.
I have waited marshes till I sunk
Yeah.
up and like begged for mercy. Somebody come get me out of this thing. I'm
I don't know
sunk
how
up
you
to my
do it. How you
knees.
Yeah.
do it.
I can't
Yeah.
do it like I
No.
anymore. My knees can't handle that mud and that
That's
marsh
it.
and rice fields, and yeah, it's not quite as easy as what everybody
Yeah.
thinks it is.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
And then you throw snow and ice and sleet, or the water steady back refreezing, and ice heaters. We've done it all.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Find out quick if you got a hole in your waders.
Yeah,
When it's
real
35
quick.
degrees.
I fell off beaver dams before. I've done all that kind of stuff. So it's been completely underwater. Yeah, it's not good. But I do a lot of deer hunting too. Talking about that, we've asked this question to a bunch of people. What is your number one, like, favorite contest that you go to every year? Or it's the one?
Yeah, man, probably the American Royal. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
one I look forward to the most every year. If I could pick a contest to win, it'd be the American Royal Open.
Yeah.
If I could hand pick
It's been a common answer.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, for me, and there's a lot. You do 50, you're gonna have like quite a few that are, but just the bigger and the baddest, type deal kind of gets it for me at the American Roll. And you get to see,
Sure.
you cook.
Everybody.
We cooked all over the country, so then
Yes.
once a year you go back, and then,
And then
everybody's
you
gonna
see,
be there. So
friends and yeah, so
I hate we didn't come this year. That was the only free weekend we had off.
Yeah, we had several things in a row, and sometimes you just gotta
well, yeah, you
pick
gotta
and
pick and
choose.
choose where you go. and
Especially
what
we
you
have an
do. Yeah.
18-month-old,
I know
so
that's yeah.
gotta be at
It's
home
hard.
sometimes.
Oh,
I think the
know.
most I ever done was 37 contests, right?
It's too much. I don't know.
And yeah, I commend you for doing
It
50
can-
every week.
Yeah,
That's-
with the kids and. we've
So, what
been
is the
juggling.
farthest contest you've done that you've traveled the farthest to do?
probably, I think it was
Illinois.
Absaroka, Montana.
Yeah,
was-
Absaroka
I think it's
too.
only 28
and then
hours one
yeah,
way.
Wow.
Something
Yeah.
like
Wow.
that.
yeah.
But we've done quite a few that are over 20 hours
Yeah.
away, and it takes 6 hours to get out
Yeah,
of Texas.
just out
So
of
before I
Texas,
even
you
get
know,
out,
just,
you're
when
going a
you're
long
hitting
way.
that
but-
Oklahoma border, you're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah, back in
What part
21.
of Texas are you originally from?
Well, we're from Bandera. We're outside of San Antonio.
Yeah, Bandera, Texas.
So South Central.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in 21, we did 40 KCBS that year, out of Texas. So, man, we spent a lot of time on the road.
On the
There's only
road. Well,
5 in Texas,
He did most of it, and then I kind of joined him in the summer.
In the summer.
When Reed was off of school, so we.
We were gone for
Did-
about a month and
yeah.
did 6, did a couple doubles.
It
And
was
then
awesome.
Man, it was like a 7,000-mile trip,
7,000 miles.
Montana,
You know.
Nebraska.
Wow.
Illinois.
So I've been asking the wives that were actually on the podcast, do you actually, is there a meat that you cook as a part, or do you just help with
I
what
help
needs
on,
help?
on meats, but I've done dessert, I've done opens, I've done, all of that.
And she cooks. She has her own
Yeah, I
team
have
that-
my own team.
She'll
so
cook a couple times a
Yeah,
year. She's probably
yeah.
done, maybe a dozen or so over
A
the
dozen
years.
or so.
Primarily in Texas.
Yeah,
You cook against him?
I do.
Well,
Sometimes.
Have you ever beat him?
She always beats me. I've never beat her. Are you kidding? I'm like, all right, that's it for the year. I cut her off. I'm like,
Get
"All
outta
So do
right."
here.
y'all have your own separate recipes then? Are you doing
I
things
do.
different?
I do.
Do you hide them from each other? Does he know what
Oh, I
you
don't
do?
hide them from her.
No.
But then she's over
I'm
there,
like, yeah.
and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why would you do anything
Get
different?
outta here.
But of course, she's gonna
Get
fix
outta
what I did
here.
wrong.
I was very proud. Candace never trimmed ribs, but I trimmed them all for her and got them all ready. And I was running hard for Rib Team of the Year, and they allow once a year for somebody to present for you,
Yeah.
right? Somebody else. So I went and I had to do something. Was it for Traeger or what was
You were at the Royal.
I was at the Royal cooking, and I sent her in my other trailer to an MBN contest, and she won first place ribs and
There you
almost
go.
won the Grand Champion.
Oh, that's
I had carried my
Wow.
trailer, the other trailer out there, set it up, set the counters up, plugged it in, got the everything. She just had to walk in the door, turn the air on, and then fire the cooker. That was it.
And I
Put
did
the
have
ribs.
help. I
Yeah.
wasn't Austin. A friend of
one of my
ours
friends.
helped
Yeah.
me, so it was me and Austin.
But you built the box, you done
I
it
did.
all?
I did.
Oh.
I did the presenting because that was
Great.
back when, well, I guess it had changed already, but when you make finals, you have to present on site. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I used to cook a lot of desserts,
Yeah.
KCBS and
Yeah, I've
MBN. I
done
won a lot of
desserts and
dessert
stuff
stuff,
like that,
but I
like
kind of
meats more.
retired.
Yeah, she
Wow.
cooked. So, we cooked the jack last year. And, I said, hey, babe, I'm going to do the 4 meats. I'm going
Yeah.
to focus on that.
Yeah.
So you can, you do the dessert and the open, but I ain't doing none of it. You're on your own on that. And
And I'm like,
so
I
she
got
did.
you.
And so it was kind of like this, butting heads all the way
I
up
was-
to it. I'm like, you been practicing? I was kind of on her. And she,
man, just
leave me alone.
give me a
Anyway, back
minute.
and forth.
Give me a minute.
Long story short, she won first place in the
Yeah.
open at the Jack
It-
last year.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
What'd you end up cooking?
I did shrimp and grits, but I did a fillet on the side. So
For the chef's choice.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal cook. Does most of the cooking at the house.
Yeah.
Feeds us pretty
But
much
I'm not
anything
much
she
into
touches.
the like dessert.
She's
I
past the
I
dessert,
just want I
It's fun for a
just
while,
want
and
some
then
meat.
it's like,
I just like cooking.
Yeah.
So what got you into spurring from cooking there? What spun you into the product business?
yeah. So, first few years doing 10 or 12 a year, nothing like super serious, but, started in 15, probably sometime in 16. I wasn't very good in chicken when I started out, so I tried a few things here or there, and
Chicken
you're
was
starting
always the
too.
nemesis.
So, and anyway, I'm like, man, I'll just try my own thing. So I started playing around, making some injections or whatever, and got half-ass lucky, and had something really good. And I'm like, man, I was kicking ass. I think I hit like 9 first-place chickens one year, or whatever. And so I've got this in the back of my mind, and I'm thinking, at some point, I'm like, man, you ought to sell that. You ought to, and I'm thinking, this conversation, I have no idea how to do that. I don't know how to put it in a bag and get all that
So we had a lot of help.
labeling and nutrition and all that. So, and you start asking some buddies who have products or whatever, and then they point you here and there. And next thing you know, you get in the right circle with the right people or whatever, and that gets figured out. So that was Foul Play. That was our first product, is our chicken injection. And
Plus, it paid for the comps too, because I was like, he had a full-time job, and he was working, 40 to 50 hours, but then he would go cook, and it's kind of like, you gotta supplement somewhere and whatever. But he knocked it out.
Yeah.
He did good.
So that was the first product, and there was never really like this plan. It just kind of evolved, right?
I never had a plan either.
Yeah,
I
it
totally
just
get it,
kinda,
Philip.
stuff picks you, you know what I mean? And then then another idea pops up, like, man, this is great, because I'm having like a lot of, tons of people are using it. They're and
winning
what's
with
next?
it.
So I started on a brisket injection. I made my brisket injection, then pork injection. So I just started developing the line. We're up to 12 products now, and that's what, 5.5 years, something like that. So 2 or 3 products a year is kind of what we're at. Man, when I develop something, it's kind of what I want and how I want to cook. So, man, I go to work and develop that product, and then go to comps and either win or not with it, But when I got it like I want, and when I can hit like I want with it, is when a product's finished. We got a lot that's never made it out, because, man, it's really good. Like, man, it's
I've probably got 80
good,
different
but
things ready
if
to
you're
go to
not
market, from
winning,
fry
so.
breaders to cornbread. I got all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Ready to go. I could flood the market, but I'm not going to.
Oh, you got to pace
It's
yourself.
not ready for it. I mean, trends.
Yeah, for sure.
We do a lot of studying now into the market and figuring out what it's going to take. And now, if you're not going to turn really a big volume on it, for me, it's not worth messing with. I mean, a pallet or 2 here or there. We're just messing with efficiency if we're not going to turn truckloads.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of how we built the brand, is for me, creating the products I wanted to use in competition, and having a line, a seasoning injection line that a cook could go to and have a complete line. So that's how we've gone about building the line, and sauces will probably be next. We won't go deep in that, but we'll have a couple sauces, a couple glazes or whatever. Just keep expanding upon the line, and trying to bring quality products to the market. Trying to bring uniqueness too. As many as there are.
That's me. I try to bring uniqueness when I launch something, something different flavors, really pungent. I mean, just try to be very different than everybody else. I mean, Memphis flavors, where KCBS is well more balanced, and I think all your other cooking organizations are. Memphis is known for blowing your palate out. And that one bite, you got to make that impression in that one bite. Yeah, and so we're all about the finishing this and steps and processes and layering flavors and all that. And so I don't know if that's kind of me growing up, cutting my teeth in that and seeing all of it, but it's really you got to have really big flavor in Memphis.
Yeah. Well, that'll steer obviously your influence, whatever your influence was from that will be how you typically steer outside of that. So, yeah, I'm sure it made an impression.
So what did you do before you got into barbecue?
I was in electrical distribution. I spent 25 years in that, parts house, selling electrical parts to typically contractors, big jobs and stuff like that. I did that up until 2.5 years ago, is when full-time barbecue happened. So we're about 2.5 years deep in LC barbecue.
So what really made you make that jump?
COVID was hard for everybody, right? And a lot of things changed, and for me the same. The workplace changed a lot. It was super stressful, and you got all this jobs and demands, and you can't get a product to a customer, and
Getting screamed at, and it ain't your fault.
Yeah, that was frustrating. And then there was a lot of other changes going on, and timing wise, it's just the way it worked out. Probably a couple years sooner than if I would have drew it out that I'd done it. And we talked.
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy.
He
But
came. It's not going to be easy, but what do you think? And I'm like, I know this is your dream, and go ahead.
Now's a better time than ever to try it
Right.
out.
Right.
yeah, it was going to come at some point. So,
It was heading that way.
we're passionate
so.
about it, and
That's kind of like
we're
me. Huh?
figuring out
Yeah.
people. So
You got to pull the trigger at some
You
point.
have
You got to
to.
shit or get off the pot. It's the old saying,
Exactly.
right?
yeah, that's it.
And if you don't ever try it, you don't ever know if it's going to work.
Right.
And you don't want to be one of these guys that go, well, I wish I would
I
have.
wish I would have. Yeah.
And I tell myself that all the time. I watch my parents say that. And they was a good motivator for me. So when it come to me, I stuck $28,000 on American Express and said, it's time to blow or go. I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? I pay $500 a month, right, to pay this off.
Yeah.
And it worked out. So far, it
No
worked
doubt.
out.
Yeah.
I tell people that story and laugh, but you got to be able to take a chance. I mean, you got to believe. If you don't believe in yourself, who will, right?
That's it.
And you believed in yourself, and now you're out there tearing it up and doing the right thing, and
There's nobody else that's going
you're
to
just as happy and laughing and carrying on.
Exactly.
You think about it, every time you get in the truck, you're just as happy because it's for you. It ain't for somebody else.
Right.
And I tell myself it could be a lot worse working for somebody else. I have days where I want to pull the remainder of my hair out, but it could always be worse.
Yeah, it's no
For
doubt.
sure.
Well,
For sure.
Next question, though, what trophy is the one that's either eluded you or the one that you just had to go after and you finally got it?
man, we've got some really cool trophies. And even a lot of those that never really went after trophies. There's
Yeah.
contests that have some special trophies that you
Yeah.
go to, and you're like, I'd like those or
Yeah.
whatever. One that's eluded us so far is, wood at the Royal. We've got quite a few ribbons.
Yes, we've got
I'm
quite a
the
few
same way
ribbons,
with you.
but-
It's eluded me.
We had
Yeah.
180 ribs, but we ended up fourth.
Yeah.
It's the Royal. So you
Yeah.
got to have a little luck involved in there too,
For
right?
sure.
So that's kind of the next, one we'd like to add to the trophy cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
One of the in the house trophies, which kind of running out of room. On the
So
in the
you were
house.
fourth to the 180 and got a ribbon?
Uh-huh.
So let me ask your perspective on this. I would consider you a world champion too.
Yeah.
It was just a computer coin toss. It's the way you wound up. You still got a perfect score.
Mine wasn't a perfect 180, and I don't remember if first place was. That being said, if my drop score was lower, I mean, it's arguable, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
You just see a lot of people saying, you win a category, that's a
Now, if
world
it was a
champion.
perfect 180,
Sure.
like dessert, what is it? Top 10
Oh,
or perfect
gosh.
I think
180s.
yeah.
Right? And then that's
It wasn't this year, which was crazy. I think it started at about 7.
I think it was 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were 42 180s. And 7 or 8 were perfect. So
Right.
there were
That's a lot.
42 180s in dessert. So that's really the category that
Crazy.
gets kind of
I know.
Yeah. crazy. Most of the other meats, man, even having 4 is really uncommon for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll take 180s at the Royal any day, though, right?
Hey,
sure.
any
It'll
day of
come
the
at some point. We've done. We were 12th overall in the Invitational one year. We walked 24th overall in the Open last year, so that it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. And
That's cool.
we got a bunch of turkey smoke ribbons and
Yeah.
ribs, pork. I don't know, but yeah, wood on that list is next, and obviously wanting to win that contest.
So besides the American Roll, any other local around Texas that
Um,
Well,
as far as some of the really cool trophies, one banjo BQ in Evans, Georgia, back in 21 on
Came
day
home
2.
with the
It
banjo.
was,
where are we gonna put this? In
Yeah.
the living room.
they
No, we're
combine the
not.
scores or whatever?
no. So day 1 is, I think they call it practice or something. I can't remember what it was, practice for cash or something, but it was still like 15 grand. And then day 2 was like 25 or 30,000. Day 2 was kind of like where they had the banjo and this and that. And I had a good day 1. I think I was 7th, and then day 2 I granded, so I got that banjo. Which, man, I didn't even know they had a banjo before I got there. I saw it was really cool. And
That's really
the
cool.
banjo was really cool. So I don't really think about that stuff for the most part, but that's a cool trophy. Texas Chrome Foundation, Texas Heroes Chrome Foundation, Joey Smith.
Yeah.
They have a 6-pack series that they've done the past couple years, and I've won that series the past 2 years. And man, these trophies are, man, it's almost like a
Huge.
shuffleboard table. Like build it into like a A-frame with wood that looks like a shuffleboard. Then it's got a big leather insert with a belt buckle insert in it, and then Texas. I mean, they're really cool
Yeah,
trophies.
they're
and
really cool trophies.
I think I've got like 5
really,
of those.
Yeah, they're really.
So have you heard of Galax, Virginia before?
Yeah,
Where they do a
yeah.
duel? They give away fiddles for each category, mandolins for like a reserve, guitar for grand, and then on the MBN side, they give
It's a
away
banjo.
a banjo.
We have a banjo as well.
I got
Yeah.
mandolin,
But it's from that
guitar.
contest.
I granted
That
and reserved
contest.
the same day up there, and which was pretty cool to win
That's
both
really
and a bunch of
cool.
fiddles and all that. And so then I made it like a personal goal. I'm sure you've heard that, to me to win 2 in one day. And I went and done it the very next year at another contest.
That's awesome.
And then I done it in Illinois again, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
What do you do with all your trophies like over the years?
Yes, living.
Some of the favorite ones are at the office, hanging on the wall and kind of sitting around. And of course, my big Memphis and May trophy sitting in the corner, you know.
It was at home for a while.
It was at home for a while.
It
sitting
was
in front of
the only
fireplace.
one really in our house.
But I have a shop, and everything is like pushed back in the corner currently. Well,
We
we're
have
in
a
the
shop,
middle
and that's
of
where they're
building we bought a farm back last year, and so building like just some family hunting land, you know, and so we're building like a lodge on it and all that, and it's actually going to be like content. So I'll be able to invite you out, and you pull up, plug in your trailer, and it's going to be a 40 by 40 patio and a big filming kitchen, and you know, somewhere to stay and wash machine and all that, and we're gonna have a wing out here for us and big living room, and so somewhere for come and shoot content, do a podcast, talk at the whiskey bar, bourbon bar, you know.
But those trophies will go there.
All the
eventually.
trophies are gonna go there.
That's
They'll be
really
on the
what it's
walls.
for, is the trophy showcase and the place to put the trophies, but we might as well do content and other stuff too, right?
That's right. Well, you know, nobody's really doing anything
Leave room
like
for
that, right?
expansion.
I mean, so I want somewhere where you could pull up. We could highlight LC's barbecue. We could do a collaboration together. We film it. We podcast. We drink whiskey. We relax, and we do it all right there. We never got to leave, you know. And I feel like nobody has that. And I'm big on entertaining and having a good time for anybody that knows me. So I feel like that it will be something that I will really enjoy once we get it completed.
It's exciting.
And we'll have to be sure to have y'all out.
That's
That'd be
way cool.
Really good. Well, look, I want to tell y'all, thank y'all for coming on, kind of telling your story at LC's Barbecue. I know you'll have some phenomenal products,
Thank
and
you so much.
you're a hell of a cook. I mean, I know that I don't get to talk to you a lot or see you a lot, you know, out on the circuit because we're so far away, and I don't cook that much anymore. I'm lucky to cook too, but man, y'all are out here killing it, and I always like to see somebody, another hustler out here on the street, because you don't mind putting in the work for it.
Well, we appreciate
No,
you guys.
thank
and
you so
guys like you
much.
pave the way
Yeah.
for guys like me.
Yep.
So,
Thank you, I appreciate
much
that.
appreciated. Thank
Man.
you for having
Thank
us on
you
the
for
show.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much. Well, like I said, always good to shoot the Q, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin The Que podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Q.